So here's how this started. I was sick of paying way too much for phone service. I'm talking full on, how is this still legal kind of pricing. And I kept hearing people throw around Mint Mobile like it was the second coming of affordable data. You've probably seen the Ryan Reynolds ads for yourself, or maybe even had someone you know flex how they're only paying $15 a month while you're still stuck in wireless purgatory. I figured, fine, let's see if it's actually worth switching or if it's all just hype wrapped in a box with Ryan Reynolds' face on it. But before we go any further, quick heads up, if you're thinking about trying it out, I've dropped a link in the description that gives you guys the best possible deals for Mint Mobile. It's one of those behind the scenes deals you won't find just by looking at their site, so you're welcome in advance. Anyways, let's talk about why I didn't regret the move. For starters, the setup is laughably simple. If your phone supports eSIM, you're connected in just a couple minutes. There's no waiting for a physical SIM, no weird techie steps. Just scan, tap, and done. I literally set it up on my lunch break with one hand while eating some, I'll be honest, really good turkey sandwich, so it was kind of a win-win. Now the app is clean too. There's no weird clutter or buried menus. You can switch plans, see your usage, pay your bill, all in a few taps. Plus, if you're pushing your data limit, they give you a heads up before things get a little sketchy. And yeah, topping up, painless as well. No calling a rep, no hold music, just click what you need and move on with your life. You get free hotspot usage, finally, free calling to Canada, Mexico, and the UK, and Wi-Fi calling and texting. That last one's actually a lifesaver if you've tried to make a call from a basement or some random cabin in the woods where cell service dies, but there's still somehow Wi-Fi. I've used it in places where I definitely thought I'd be stuck with no service and managed to text like nothing was wrong. Now the network part, because if we're being honest, cheap phone plans are useless if your phone turns into a paperweight. Mint runs on T-Mobile's network, which is actually really solid in cities and suburbs. I've had no issues streaming, downloading, FaceTiming, or even using Google Maps while lost in a new city, which happens way more often than it should. Even when I left town and drove through a few middle of nowhere spots, I still had enough signal to make calls and send texts. Data slowed down, granted, but I expected that. The only time I really noticed a dip in speed was in a packed crowd downtown during a festival. Turns out because Mint leases space from T-Mobile, if there's a lot of network congestion, Mint users might get deprioritized. But again, that's rare. In regular day-to-day use, it's been smooth. Let's talk about pricing though, because that's kind of the whole appeal. Mint's headline offer is $15 a month, which is real, but only for the first 3 months. And yes, you do have to pay that $45 up front. After that, it depends on how long you renew for. If you commit to a year, you can still keep it at that lower end rate. But if you go for shorter renewals, the monthly cost bumps up a bit. Still, even then, it's cheaper than most of the big name carriers by a mile. They've got options depending on how much data you need. 5, 15, 20 gigabytes, and even unlimited. And with the unlimited plan, you technically don't have a hard cap anymore, but your speeds can slow down after 35 gigabytes. Personally, that hasn't been a deal breaker. I use my phone a lot, but I've never hit that point and thought, wow, this is unusable. It's more like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be streaming Netflix in 4K on a bus. As for customer support, I've only needed them once when I had a SIM issue, and while they took a bit to respond, they did get it sorted. It wasn't some horror story, you just might need to be a little patient if something goes sideways. That's probably the only area where I'd say there's room for improvement. So who's this actually for? Honestly, if you live in a city or a well-covered suburb, don't burn money on overpriced plans. Mint gives you the essentials, and then some, for way less. If you're a super heavy data user or live out in a rural area where coverage is already spotty, you might want to double check the T-Mobile coverage map before committing. But for me, I've saved a ton of money without really giving anything up. It's one of those rare budget choices where you don't constantly feel the trade-offs. So, if you're on the fence, try the 3-month plan. Use the link, grab the deal, and see how it holds up. If it works, awesome. You don't have to pay for a contract, and there's no stress. If it doesn't work, at least you didn't get roped into something for a whole year. So would I recommend it? Yeah, especially if you're tired of overpaying for the same towers, same signal, and fewer perks. Mint's not perfect, but it's close enough, and way easier on the wallet. And that basically wraps up today's video, folks. If you have any questions, drop them below and I'll get back to you. And hey, if you found this helpful, maybe consider subscribing or liking the video. It helps way more than you think. At any rate, guys, that is all from me. Enjoy the videos, and until next time, make sure to take care.